We're not used to this. We don't know how to handle it. This hasn't happened in 40 years since Walter Mondale turned down the invitation. And remember, he lost 49 out of 50 states. I don't want to say there's a direct connection there.
They say that Kamala Harris is a history-making candidate, right? I mean, after all, she's the first black woman to run for president and the first Indian woman to run for president. And I don't know, they'll find something else about her that's history-making. They keep writing the script on her. It's fantastic. She made a little bit more history, though. She's the first presidential candidate since Walter Mondale to refuse to go to the annual Al Smith fundraising dinner in New York. This is something that presidential candidates have done, well, since the mid-'80s, every 4 years. Before that, actually, they've been doing it, I think, for 60 years. I'll explain who Al Smith is and why this is so important. But first, let me throw it over to Cardinal Dolan of New York. He's the host of this dinner that hosts the presidential candidates. As you can see, here's the one with Trump and Hillary, and there's the Cardinal sitting right between them. This is always 2 weeks before the election. And well, here's Cardinal Dolan commenting today on Kamala Harris deciding to snub him, to snub Catholic charities, to snub the Catholic Church, and to snub Catholics all around the world.
We're disappointed. We were looking forward to giving the vice president an enthusiastic welcome. And we were confident that she would find this. You know, she speaks very much about the high ideals and how it's good to get away from division and come together in unity and all. Well, that's what the Al Smith dinner is all about. We haven't given up yet. We're not used to this. We don't know how to handle it. This hasn't happened in 40 years since Walter Mondale turned down the invitation. And remember, he lost 49 out of 50 states. I don't want to say there's a direct connection there. But so we're not used to this, and we're not giving up. You know who's been a help to us, Lauren, is Senator Schumer and Governor Hochul. They both are working hard to see that they convince her to come.
So there's still a chance.
Yeah, and Senator Schumer said to me, he said, I don't think she made the decision. I think her schedulers are saying she can't make it. So we're not giving up. We hope she's here.
Yeah, well, good luck there, Cardinal. I hope you're right, but I don't think it's going to happen. He's right. This is a very important dinner because it always happens right before the election, and it always features the Democrat and the Republican candidate, where they go up under the auspices of this very formal affair, white tie dinner, to raise money for Catholic charities. But frankly, even more important than that, to show to everyone in our nation and around the world that despite how tough this election has been, and despite all of the nasty things that have been said back and forth between the two candidates, but there are some things that are bigger and more important in this country, and they can get together, they can sit right next to each other and have a nice dinner before the election, and each of them goes up. The tradition is that they have a monologue, a comedy monologue that they say about each other, and they sort of roast each other, but all in good fun. It sends the message to everyone in this country that we're all Americans, we're all human beings, and we don't have to take all of this so seriously that if we lose the election that, you know, this person is my bitter enemy. By the way, it's named after Al Smith, obviously. He's the former governor of the state of New York. He was the first Catholic to be nominated for president of the United States. He lost to Calvin Coolidge. And he lost, sadly, because there was rampant anti-Catholic bigotry in this country in 1924. And there still is, I think, personified by Kamala Harris and her Democrat Party. In my opinion, one of the major reasons why she didn't want to go to this is because, well, the Catholic Church represents the pro-life movement. The Catholic Church represents a movement that is anathema to her and her party's political ideology at this point. They want to be able to kill unborn babies right up until the moment of birth, in some cases even past birth. And sitting next to a cardinal, just like Hillary Clinton did, right there, as you can see, will send the message that it's okay to sit next to somebody who wants to control the woman's body and control women's reproductive rights. There's also a second reason why I think Kamala Harris snubbed the Al Smith dinner, and I'll explain that to you after you watch this quick clip. I want to show you that even in the 2016 presidential election with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And if you remember, that's a pretty tough election. It got pretty rough there. Frankly, rougher than this election has gotten so far. Even those two found a way to show up at the Al Smith dinner. And remember how I told you that one of the things about this dinner is that the candidates come with sort of pre-written jokes to deliver to roast your political opponent? Well, that was the case back in 2016. And it didn't end well for Hillary Clinton because Donald Trump is really, really, really good at this kind of thing. Take a look.
Now, I'm told Hillary went to confession before tonight's event. But the priest was having a hard time when he asked her about her sins, and she said she couldn't remember 39 times. Nah. Hillary is so corrupt. She got kicked off the Watergate Commission. How corrupt do you have to be to get kicked off the Watergate Commission? Pretty corrupt. Hillary is and has been in politics since the 70s. What's her pitch? The economy is busted. The government's corrupt. Washington is failing. Vote for me. I've been working on these problems for 30 years. I can fix it, she says. I wasn't really sure if Hillary was going to be here tonight because I guess you didn't send her invitation by email. Or maybe you did and she just found out about it through the wonder of WikiLeaks. We've learned so much from WikiLeaks. For example, Hillary believes that it's vital to deceive the people by having one public policy and a totally different policy in private. That's okay. I don't know who they're angry at, Hillary, you're right. For example, here she is tonight in public, pretending not to hate Catholics. Now, if some of you haven't noticed, Hillary isn't laughing as much as the rest of us. That's because she knows the jokes. And all of the jokes were given to her in advance of the dinner by Donna Brazil.
There's a little bit more, but I just want to jump in here. You see Hillary's face here? That's what Kamala is trying to avoid. This is a big reason why she's not there, because she doesn't want that shot. Because you had to sit there and but see, again, I say this is healthy. This is a healthy thing. And by the way, she gets her chance to go up there and say nasty things about Trump, funny things about Trump. And it's just so great. And you heard, and by the way, there are people in the audience who don't like Trump. He started saying things about Hillary. The people in the crowd start shouting back at him and heckling him. That's good. That's America. This is fun. This is free speech. It's again sends the message to the American people that yes, we feel passionately about what we believe and what we stand for, but at the end of the day, we can take our lumps, we can laugh with each other and move on past the election. But no, Democrats aren't like that anymore. I'll let Trump finish because there's one other reason why Kamala Harris isn't doing this that I want to share with you, but let's watch the end.
Which is, everyone knows, of course, Hillary's belief that it takes a village, which only makes sense, after all, in places like Haiti, where she's taken a number of them.
Look at the face. That's one of those jokes, if you know, you know. But that's rough. I mean, he went hardcore on Hillary, right? And they just, boom. And I just want to reiterate that the Al Smith dinner with the presidential candidates just 2 weeks before the election doing this, it's a good thing. And Kamala Harris has no interest in doing it. She has no interest in doing it because of all the reasons why I just told you. First of all, she's bad at this kind of thing, number one. Number two, I don't think she wants to be associated with anything Catholic, and certainly not seen sitting next to a cardinal whose public position has been to decry, denounce, and actually condemn with an anathema the kind of evil, wicked behavior Kamala Harris and her party stand for right now. Number three, she didn't want to have to endure Trump's barbs and have to have that moment. You know, actually, my favorite shot, I think, was where is it? There it is. Yeah, that's here. This is not. Look at her. Look at that face, man. You know what's going on behind those eyes. Can you imagine being Bill Clinton having to face that look for 50 some odd years of your life? Yeah, Kamala did not want to sit there and have to squirm with the cameras on her as Trump roasted her, right? But then there's one other reason. And actually, I think it's the most dangerous reason of all. Again, these are all the reasons why she's snubbing the Catholic Charities, snubbing the Cardinal Dolan in New York, insulting Catholics everywhere, and refusing to send this signal to the American people and around the world that even though we have our differences, you know, we can still have a night together. We can sit together for dinner. There's a lot of reasons why she did this. But the biggest reason of all is because when you appear on a stage in an event like this, sitting one person away from Donald Trump, with the Cardinal right there between you, and sitting there listening to his jokes and, you know, grinning through it and laughing because you're showing you're a good sport, and then you go up and you deliver your jokes, and they can be insults, and it's a roast. You do that to your political opponent. You do that to Donald Trump, and then he laughs and he smiles and he grins and bears it because that's what you do, because it's all in good fun and you're all laughing together. When you go through that process, it means that you're treating Donald Trump like a human being. You actually humanize Donald Trump by doing that, by participating in this. You are actually sending the signal to voters, to your base, to Democrats, and to everyone around the world that Donald Trump is actually okay. That he is, in fact, a human being. And that's the last thing she can do. That's the last thing she can afford to do. My friends, for the next 6 weeks, we're going to see the dehumanizing of Donald Trump like we've never seen. Throw J.D. Vance in there, too. They got to destroy him, too. They are going to do whatever they can to give you permission to hate him. See, we Americans, we don't generally hate people. We certainly don't hate people for their politics. We hate their ideas. We hate their policies. We hate the ramifications of those policies and what they do to our country and our economy, et cetera, et cetera. But we don't hate each other. So you got to break through barriers to teach people to hate. You need to give people permission to do something that inherently they don't want to do. And for the next 6 weeks, Kamala Harris and the Democrats and the media and pop culture and late night comedians and the music industry and the movie industry and college professors and academia and all of the levers of power that the political left in this country aligned with the Democratic Party control, all they're going to do for the next 6 weeks is systematically attempt to dehumanize Donald Trump so that you feel you have permission to hate that man. Because it's the only campaign tactic they have at this point. They can't tell you how their ideas are better and how their ideas will help our country and fix our economy and make our streets safer and bring down crime and protect our allies overseas and keep our troops out of foreign conflicts. They can't make that case. You know they can't make that case. If they could make that case, that positive case for their policies, I assure you, Kamala Harris would be giving interviews all day long with a very friendly media who would be more than happy to broadcast her message. She doesn't even try to do that because they can't. You know better. On every single important policy that matters most to the American people, Donald Trump is trouncing Kamala Harris. So what do? If you don't have a positive message about what you can do for this country, then the only thing you can do is make your opponent so evil, so odious, so distasteful, so unacceptable that even if people don't like you, even if people are terrified of your policies and what you might do, they're more terrified of what your opponent might do. That's all they've got. That's their strategy at this point. They thought they would be 5 to 10 points ahead right now. And they really aren't. And so this is part of that strategy. If you sit on a stage with Donald Trump in this setting and trade jokes with him, eat a meal with him, pray with him, laugh with him, and God forbid, shake his hand at the end of the night, well, you've undermined all of your efforts to make him a monster. And that, along with all the other reasons I just gave you, is why Kamala Harris is walking down the Walter Mondale path. Now, let's just hope the voters of 2024 walk down that path as well, like they did in 1984.